More than 22,000 new cases of the COVID-19 outbreak have been recorded in the financial center of the world, Shanghai. Residents are growing impatient after being cooped up at home for more than a month. They can hear people pleading for help from their windows. One woman's door was forced open by police when she refused to go to quarantine. Robots patrol some streets reminding people to put on their masks. And the city is entering its third week of COVID lockdown, which is why people are being ejected from their homes. Your promise to take whatever steps are necessary to reduce China's covert cases to zero at all costs has had an unintended consequence. However, your rich people want out. In your lockdowns, it doesn't matter whether you're a peasant or a rich businessman living in a pet house. They're both trapped in their homes just the same. Additionally, the businesses that made these businessmen rich, most of them are likely going under as well, since no one is buying their products, even though this is all your fault for punishing the few subjects that actually keep your economy running, it is your duty to protect the interests of the public at all costs by never letting the rich leave, because these rich people are only rich because you need money and the Chinese economy to be running at full capacity. If they leave and take their money with them, people won't have jobs, and the economy will collapse. Music. Although the government denies it, we are undoubtedly already in a recession. Since a recession typically lasts 17 months, the outlook for the next 1 to 2 years is not good unless you start preparing now. Keep in mind that when there is violence in the streets, you want to be greedy, so if this recession is anything like the 2008 recession, when home prices fell by as much as 40 to 50 in some areas or even over 60 in places like Las Vegas, you're going to want to start saving. The real estate investing course from Kevin arrives in me. I actually purchased this course with my own money and went through it a few years ago, and it is amazing. I had no real estate knowledge and I bought a lot of online courses in my day, so I can tell you with confidence that this is the most comprehensive real estate investing course available. Kevin is one of the most popular investing YouTubers out there, and in this course he teaches you how to go from $0 in net worth to millionaire and beyond using real estates. China was not exactly at the top of most people's lists of ideal countries to live in even before COVID brought turmoil to the country because to pollution and lax safety regulations. Corruption, extensive surveillance, and almost no freedom of speech or expression. It's not surprising that even in 2013, many wealthy Chinese citizens were looking for a way out of their country rather than remaining in one where their money could be taken from them or where they could be imprisoned if the government was having a bad day. These rich Chinese citizens wanted to move to places like America, Canada, Europe, and Australia instead of remaining in a country where they could be thrown in jail if the government was having a bad day. Disgusting things like that. So to prevent your subjects from leaving you, you instituted a new rule that only allowed your subjects to take $50,000 out of the country each year. This was strict, just the way you wanted it, but these meddling peasants eventually found a lot of ways around this law, like buying cryptocurrency or moving their money through Macau, the Las Vegas of Asia, where there are lots of casinos. If Chinese citizens truly wanted to, they could use all of these loopholes to move to the West, but after COVID it was time to enforce the laws. Music. To begin with, you showed no mercy in your efforts to stop the spread of COVID. People were left stranded in their apartments without access to food. Tesla employees were made to spend the night in the company's factories. Bankers were confined to their offices. And more than 33,000 people were detained in Disneyland for testing before being allowed to leave. All of these measures meant that not only were your subjects suffering mentally and developing anxiety and depression, but also the Chinese economy was slowed down to a halt. Today over 18% of China's youth are unemployed and the economy is grumbling. People were living in constant fear of testing positive or coming into contact with someone who had COVID, which would then cause them to get shipped off to some strange quarantine camp far away from their families and their homes. Yes, please. According to migration consultants and lawyers, since the start of the Zero COVID program, the number of people asking how to leave China has tripled, in some cases multiplied by 5, and searches for terms like, how to move to Canada, have increased by more than 3,000%. Currently, about 10,000 wealthy Chinese citizens and 3,000 residents of Hong Kong are planning to leave just this year, taking their over $60 billion with them. This has made it very challenging for people to obtain passports so they can apply for visas to move, which brings us to our next step. Even if Chinese citizens were able to obtain the passports, visas, and authorization they needed to leave the country, we would still need to close all the loopholes they had discovered over the years to transfer money abroad. For this reason, the Chinese government outlawed crypto trading in 2021, making it impossible for anyone to use Bitcoin or Ethereum as a means of. Take the War on Terror as an example. For nearly 10 years, CIA operatives and American soldiers would kidnap and imprison hundreds of their Arab enemies and subject them to some of the most violent, ruthless enhanced interrogation tech in the name of patriotism and the greater good. But none of that could compare to the lengths America is willing to go to achieve its goals and maintain its status as the moral compass of the world. The CIA's Black Site program involved the practice of kidnapping and questioning detainees in covert prisons, and the treatment of these detainees is unquestionably the darkest, most evil subject we have ever covered on this channel. However, delving too deeply into the CIA's Black Site program would undoubtedly result in demonetization by YouTube, so we have instead released it as a private full-length documentary that is only accessible to members of this channel. Clicking the join button below will grant you exclusive access to this monthly stream of insider knowledge about how the world operates that no one will ever teach you in school or university. Unlike universities, we won't charge you thousands of dollars to learn these things. Membership just costs $5 every month, and believe us, these videos are much more enjoyable than a lecture could ever be. And unlike other YouTube memberships, there is a return policy. If you join and decide it's not worth it, email us within your first month of joining, and we will personally refund you for your first month. Music. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're new here, you should know that one of the most popular channels on YouTube for doc and memories is Money, Power, War, and Crime. We produce a number of movies such to this one every single week for free. Click the subscribe button below to keep up with us.